Describing this episode of Kill La Kill is kind of like trying to describe quantum physics to a 2-year-old. This is my review of Kill La Kill Episode 5. This right here was another awesome episode of Kill La Kill. But it's just such an insane series that I really can't, do it any justice at all. It's really the type of show you need to see for yourself. And it's not just the high production value and the cool action scenes and everything, it's the originality of everything. I've never seen anything like this before, and that's truly what makes it something that any anime fan needs to see. The series itself has a lot of really great characters, and this episode just manages to introduce another brand new one. And this guy is a badass. He's basically this guerrilla fighter who's essentially trying to hunt down all of the Goku uniforms and the Kamui uniforms so that he can steal the life fiber from them. Why? They're keeping it kind of vague because there's this whole backstory they're not getting into yet that apparently has to do with the connection between people and their clothes. That really seems to be the theme of this entire show. The more I see it, it seems to be a connection with clothing, and I'm not sure where they're going with this quite yet, but I'm willing to wait a little while because all of the action scenes are just friggin' insane. And by the way, this guy, when he's first introduced, great introduction. You know he's a badass immediately. He comes out on this giant friggin' motorcycle, he's got a mohawk, and he's got a gun. Instant win right there. But what's funny is he actually has to fight against this group of people known as the Gardening Club at the school, and you'd think the Gardening Club probably isn't all that threatening. Well, you'd be wrong. Apparently their leader has this 2-star Goku uniform, and he can summon these giant Venus flytrap plants from his back. Essentially, they're piranha plants from the Mario Brothers series, and they start trying to, take him out, and they're exploding through the walls and jetting right towards him, and he's just jumping around all the vines, and he starts shooting at them with this brand new weapon he has, and it shoots these needles. And at first I'm like, needles, I don't get it really. But then I'm like, wait a minute, needles, clothes, it's all a theme here. Apparently these needles have the ability to separate the connection of the life fibers from the actual people wearing the uniforms so that he can pin them down and take out people easily. Essentially, it's like the anti-Goku uniform weapon, and he's going to try to do this to try and capture those and the Kamui suit. And eventually he does meet Ryoko once, and he tries to capture her, but he gets kind of a little bit of a warning from her homeroom teacher. But still, it doesn't matter. In the second half of the episode, things just go to 15, oh man, this whole scene's great because essentially we get another big rematch between Ryoko and this guerrilla fighter, but it gets interrupted by one of the Elite Four members, Nonon, who's that one band leader looking girl, and she summons a lot of the non-athletic clubs to go after all of them, and this just results in an action scene which you're just going to have to see for yourself. It's backed by a lot of really cool music, explosions. Shit is just constantly going off in every scene, and it really is a feast for the eyes. I can't do it any justice at all. The most important part of this episode for me was something that was kind of confusing me. Now, throughout the course of the series, Senketsu's been talking out loud all the time, and apparently only Ryoko can actually hear him. All the other family members have always thought she's just been sort of insane for talking to her clothing, and it makes sense in this episode. And there's this one part at the end when Ryoko is being threatened by this guy, and he's got the gun right at her, and then all of a sudden the Senketsu suit jumps up, gets right in his face, and he's like, "You better not mess with her or I will friggin' make you pay." And then he reacts in a way as if he's never heard them talk before. And this is also where it kind of gets into the whole backstory of the whole connection between humans and clothes, and I don't know, it's very, very strange. This is an odd series to say the least. And then this guy just ends up escaping, and then it looks like he's definitely going to return again. Him and the homeroom teacher are having another conversation. But holy crap, what another spectacle for the eyes. This is a great series, but, describing the action scenes is kind of insane. It's unlike anything I've seen before, and that's really what makes this series so special. So you guys definitely need to check out this anime if you haven't checked it out yet, because it's just so much fun. It's got so many funny moments. I didn't even mention the entire scene where Mako interrupts the fight between Ryoko and the guerrilla fighter. It is just so funny and hilarious. Not to mention the scene where she actually gets hit with 100 needles at a time. She gets shot with his gun, and it's funny because she's completely normal. She gets shot and then she just falls over. She's still smiling. She's covered in needles. It's just, the series manages to incorporate the humor and the action really, really well together. And, it's done by Studio Trigger, the guys who worked on Gurren Lagann, and you can see the influence all over this thing. It's really the love child of Gurren Lagann and FLCL, and that makes sense too because I think those guys worked on that as well, or at least some of the people worked on that, because they all used to be a part of Gynax and everything. So just feast for the eyes. Awesome episode. Check it out, guys. It's definitely one of the best ones so far. It's amazing how pretty much every episode so far has just been completely on damn point. So another 10 out of 10. Check this shit out. So if you guys had a chance to check out this week's episode of Kill La Kill, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Please tell me about your favorite action moments and try to describe them as best you can, because this series is friggin' nuts. And make sure before you guys leave, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. Absolutely one of the best ways to support our videos. I will see you next time, guys. Super Kami Guru 9000 out. Oh, and happy Halloween.